ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ. I'm making this video for the Jhatka Maryada page, coming from a military medical professional background. I think I can contribute to this conversation. Before I ran into the Jhatka Maryada page, I had decided to explore alternative but natural caloric dense protein sources due to rapid performance changes I was experiencing. When it came to consideration, I had to consider nutrient balance of the natural chemical elements, taking into account the completeness of all 9 essential amino acids that have to be obtained through proper nutrition because they are not produced naturally in the body. Many may ask, what are amino acids? Well, amino acids function to make the protein. A better balance of amino acids would serve for optimal performance. Metabolized in the muscle and not the liver. This means the amino acids contribute for immediate energy designed specifically to serve the needs of just the muscle tissues. Think of the 9 specific amino acids as keys to a lock. If you don't have them, you can't unlock your performance potential, since they are directly related to decreasing fatigue, increasing resistance to fatigue while in physically demanding tasks. Your body does this through something called muscle protein synthesis, which means the amino acids make the muscle protein, and the muscle protein is what contributes to the immediate energy, recovery, muscle growth, fat loss, and strength gains of your muscles. An adequate supply of both essential and non-essential amino acids is vital. If one of the essential amino acids is missing, then the synthesis is actually halted. This is the first stage of muscle atrophy. Muscle atrophy means your muscles will actually halt to grow and start to decrease in strength and actually in volume as well. They will actually shrink onto your bone, limiting movement, flexibility, and giving you no strength whatsoever. Leaving your muscles useless is basically what happens in muscle atrophy. Now, taking into account that supplements could keep my body at optimal performance, I didn't need to do much research to actually find out how supplements are chemically designed and not necessarily in compatibility with the body's natural microbial framework. So what microbial framework means is the bacterial culture and composition of the organs in your body. Many users in scientific research have found destabilization of the bacterium inside our gastrointestinal tract, which is basically our digestive tract. People have come out with diabetes, skin problems, and many other things. This is usually all due to an unbalanced nutrient composition and lack of certain macronutrients. Many vegetarian bodybuilders and athletes won't actually share how many lab-made products they actually may consume. Also, the fact that if they stopped, their performance would deteriorate within weeks' time and potentially hit a climax, which they may never be able to recover from. This may be irreversible damage to the actual muscle tissue, as there would be a significant degression of protein synthesis due to the host person only being receptive to whatever specific diet they want. Like, suppose you're vegetarian. If you're only susceptible to plant-based protein for so long, your body will actually get used to that and be more receptive to that sort of metabolism for a prolonged period of time. Now, this what I'm saying isn't really unknown to the marketers of these products. In fact, there was this preacher, I guess you could call him, not too long ago, named Trilochan Das, and he's released his own brand of whey protein and tells all of the people that come to his whatever you want to call it. He makes it really clear about the misconceptions of having a balanced, strictly lacto-vegetarian diet. See for yourself what he has to say and see if it lines up.
ਹੁਣ ਵੈਜੀਟੇਰੀਅਨ ਬੰਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ, ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਵੈਜੀਟੇਰੀਅਨ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੀਨ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਮਿਲੇਗਾ, ਤਾਕਤ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਮਿਲੇਗੀ? ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਸੁੱਕੀਆਂ ਗੱਡੀਆਂ ਦੜਾਈ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਸਾਡੀ ਗੱਡੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਾਂ ਪੈਟਰੋਲ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੈ ਰਿਹਾ। ਭਾਵ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਸਰੀਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਾਕਤ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ, ਜਾਨ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਥੱਕ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਨਾ ਜਲਦੀ, ਥਕਾਵਟ ਹੈ। ਤੇ ਜੋ ਥੱਕ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਫਿਰ ਕੀ ਚਾਰਾ ਹੈ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਥਕਾਵਟ ਨੂੰ ਦੂਰ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ? ਗੁਰੂ ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਦ ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਬੰਦਾ ਖਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਤੇ ਟੌਕਸਿਨਸ ਨਿਕਲਦੇ ਨੇ। ਜਦੋਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਟੌਕਸਿਨਸ ਨਿਕਲਣਗੇ, ਜ਼ਹਿਰ ਨਿਕਲੇਗਾ ਸਰੀਰ ਦਾ, ਗੈਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣੇਗੀ, ਸਰੀਰ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਵੇਗੀ। ਇਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਚਲੋ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਰਵੇ, ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਬਿਮਾਰੀਆਂ ਦੂਰ ਹੋਣ। ਬਿਮਾਰੀਆਂ ਤਾਂ ਚਲੋ ਦੂਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਗੀਆਂ, ਜਾਨ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਆਵੇਗੀ ਸਰੀਰ ਵਿੱਚ? ਘਰ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਕਦੀ ਸੋਚਿਆ ਜਾਨ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਆਵੇਗੀ ਸਰੀਰ 'ਚ? ਬਿਮਾਰੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਚਲੋ ਗੁਰੂ ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਦ ਠੀਕ ਕਰ ਦੇਗਾ, ਤਾਕਤ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਆਏਗੀ? ਰੋਟੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਕੱਲੀ ਰੋਟੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤਾਕਤ ਤੇ ਆਉਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ, ਕੱਲੀ ਸਬਜ਼ੀਆਂ ਖਾਣ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤਾਕਤ ਤੇ ਆਉਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ। ਭਾਵੇਂ ਜੋ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਕਰ ਲਓ, ਲੱਗੇ ਰਹੋ। ਕਿੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਖਾ ਲੋਗੇ? ਇੱਕ ਦਾਲ ਦੀ ਕੌਲੀ ਖਾ ਲੋਗੇ, ਚਲੋ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੀਨ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਏਗੀ, ਦਾਲ ਹੈ ਅੱਛੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੈ। ਸੋਇਆ ਖਾ ਲੋਗੇ, ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੀਨ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਏਗੀ। ਕਿੰਨਾ ਖਾ ਲੋਗੇ? ਇੱਕ ਕੌਲੀ ਖਾਓਗੇ, ਕਿੰਨੀ ਕੁ ਚੀਜ਼ ਅੰਦਰ ਚਲ ਜਾਏਗੀ? ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣੀ, ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣੀ। ਸਿੱਧੀ ਤਾਕਤ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤਾਕਤ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਹੋਵੇ, ਥੱਕੋ ਨਾ, ਜਾਨ ਆਵੇ। ਸਵੇਰ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਤੱਕ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ 'ਚ ਇੰਨੀ ਚੁਸਤੀ ਫੁਰਤੀ ਰਵੇ, ਇੰਨੀ ਤਾਕਤ ਰਵੇ, ਰਾਤੀ ਸੌਣ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਦੀ ਕੁਝ ਨਾ ਦੁਖੇ। ਕੋਈ ਇੱਕ ਪਲ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੱਗੇ ਨਾ ਕਿ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਰੀਰ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੁਖ ਰਿਹਾ, ਮੇਰਾ ਸਰੀਰ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੁਖ ਰਿਹਾ, ਮੇਰਾ ਸਰੀਰ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੁਖ ਰਿਹਾ, ਮੈਂ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਕਮਜ਼ੋਰ ਹਾਂ, ਮੈਂ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਕਮਜ਼ੋਰ ਹਾਂ, ਕਿਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਮਜ਼ੋਰੀ ਨਾ ਪਵੇ। ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਮਿਹਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਨਾਲ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਕਾਬਲ ਬਣੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਐਸੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਇੱਕ ਕੱਢੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਜੀਵਨ ਦਾ ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ ਆਫ ਲਾਈਫ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰੇਗੀ, ਦਾ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰੇਗੀ, ਪੂਰੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦਾ ਬਿਉਰਾ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰ ਦੇਗੀ। ਇੰਨਾ ਸੇਫ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਕਟ, ਇੰਨੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਇਹ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਹੀ ਹਮਾਰੇ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਦ ਹੀ ਹੈ, ਸਮਝ ਲਓ।
Now, am I mad at this individual for exploiting the ignorance of a population to make a business out of it? Not really, because he's actually serving a population that are kind of purposely impoverishing themselves in the name of sanctity without going into great detail about what's going on there. I realized myself over a year ago that to keep a continuously growing, performing, and repairing machine, I needed to find the ethical answer to the long time standing question, can a Khalsa accept meat in their diet? And that's when I found the Jhatka Maryada page. I always knew what Jhatka was, and I knew what Maryada meant. But now I started to learn something new, that the Khalsa would practice Jhatka as a norm, and Singhs had never been foreign to the concept in the past. This to me was still news, as I associated with a vegetarian diet, and to be honest, I was thinking about switching to veganism because I thought that it was morally correct and the best way to live on this planet. This quickly changed after I started reading more Gurbani, where Guru Nanak Dev Ji shares, and forgive me for my mispronunciation, Kaun Maas Kaun Maag Kahave Kis Wah Paap Saman Hai. Vaheguru. Guru Nanak Dev Ji goes on to call out the contradictions of those who challenge the morality of those that eat flesh. What's meat and what's vegetables? Which one's a sin? Which one's punya? What's pop? Like, how are we going to compare punya and pop to what we need to eat for this body? Because in the end of the day, the body is Maya and what we're eating is Maya. So then how can pun and pap be associated with something ingrained in Maya. Guru Nanak Dev Ji calls them fools by saying mas mas kar moorak jhagde, dhyan gyan na hi koe. Guruji straight calls out the philosophy of diet of meat being associated with morality as foolishness. So, as a consequence, exploring the true nature of healthy meats were due at this point. A translation of Bhai Gurdas the Avara said, amongst the householders, the goat's meat is acknowledged as a sacred, and with its gut, stringed instruments are made. And the fact that we give so much importance to goat as something that a Grisht Khalsa should maintain, like just keep around, it makes sense, because now you go into the actual meat and see how it provides for the body. It provides a full range of 9 essential amino acids. It provides your body with the equal amount of nutrition of macronutrients, chemical elements, folate, all that good stuff, especially for pregnant women. I mean, I never learned how good and nutritious the goat's liver and heart and other organs can be once cooked for pregnant women, because of all the nutrition they lose via menstruation or even just providing for the baby. These are actual like in Punjabi we would call them tats, like elements, and they actually get replaced in the body with the correct biological ratios that aren't really present in labs, and they don't really study supplements that into that great depths in labs. So I mean, when you go and buy the actual supplements, you're actually not doing your body, I wouldn't say any good, but you're not doing it the most optimal good that you could be doing. So how do you take this logic and associate it with something that doesn't make you think that you're doing pop? You go to Gurbani and you don't pick and choose and ignore what you want to eat and don't. You take the whole package, because right here in front of me, Guru Sahib has made it quite clear that this isn't just for a last minute circumstance sort of thing. Soldiers need to maintain this sort of diet all the time. And the Khalsa is meant to be Chakravarti Fauj. We're supposed to be tyaar all the time. So last minute, you go learn a skill. I mean, that doesn't really work, because if the Khalsa is a military, and I'm in the military right now, if my sergeant tells me here's a compass, here's a map, you need to learn how to navigate yourself in the nights in a dark forest, go ahead. Now, the Khalsa didn't even have that, and we were guerrilla warfares inside the jungles, you know what I mean? But this is just nowadays. What if I tell my sergeant, hey man, don't worry about this, I'll learn it when I have to? That's not how it works in the military. These are skills that you need to learn, and if you don't, that's death. Like, this isn't a joke. Like, you go into the military, and even suppose I get deployed and they say we have no more food left to serve your religious needs, or we don't have any vegetable whatever. Are you gonna sit there and be like, I'm just rather gonna sit here and die than eat whatever you have to offer me? Or you can be a Singh and go hunt and get your own food. What would you rather pick? This isn't something I'm gonna come here and tell Sangat about how to make these decisions. Do it for yourself. Read Gurbani. Just read. So when a lot of these people come out on the page and start cussing at it, it's like, are you cussing at us, or are you cussing at the codes that we're doing? Because at some point it just becomes that you're cussing at the words that are written by Guru Sahib. Now, what we do is we take all this, we cross-reference it with Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and we see with Bhai Gurdas Ji Awara that everything lines up, and something referenced from Bhai Nandlal Goya Tankhanama, it says, don't eat more than necessary to satisfy for your hunger. a Gursikh is strictly forbidden to eat meat killed according to Muslim rites. So now, if the arguments are always thrown at us saying you eat it for swadras or you eat it for just to enjoy your indriya, let me tell you, Maharaj hasn't made this body in a way that a pakhand can stay gupt for long. I mean, you can see the people in your families that have swadras. They may be vegetarian or meat eaters. They can be meat eaters and they keep eating meat. They don't do anything with the protein. The fat builds up and they just turn into couch potatoes. If you have vegetarian friends, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of vegetarian joints opened up. And let me tell you, it's not hygienic. It's khulla langar, which we're not allowed to eat anyways. And forget the fact that it's not even healthy. So, I mean, at least this is healthy. Even if you're going to accuse us of having swadras, this is still something that contributes to our health in a positive direction. Once I started to actively practice Jhatka Maryada, my family was very receptive and respected the practice. Once I told them what Jhatka Maryada actually is, how the Indian subcontinent had been practicing it for millenniums without it being a debate of any kind. Now, unfortunately, people who call themselves Singhs, Sher, Lions, they love to keep a diet most identical to cows, bummers, strictly lacto-vegetarian. This isn't something I waste my time with by keeping an opinion on, because Guru Sahib has already declared through their Bani that to argue about diet is a fruitless avenue for vichar. But many of these Singhs will be so quick to dismiss the legitimacy of a diet including flesh, even when the facts are put right in front of them, to the point where they will argue and even threat to physically attack. Now, isn't it ironic that people who push for vegetarianism and veganism are so quick to be an aggressor against an omnivorous diet? Well, I mean, I myself have been castigated by a few Sikhs I once knew simply because I practiced Jhatka. Many Sikhs aren't willing to be receptive to Gurbani that does not match their own personal agenda. Instead, they choose to copy, cut, paste one-line references and bend their meaning to back up their own opinion. They'll ask 1,000 different questions to discredit having flesh in their diet. But let me remind you, Sangaji, that being a vegetarian does not put anybody on a pedestal of morality. In fact, it is a much more harder place to claim morality if one is a vegetarian, because these crusaders of a vegetarian diet, do they really care about the ethical treatment of the workers or the farmers by the corporations or the government, how they're involved? Does that ever get people curious? Do we ever think about how the vegetation we consume actually exploit labor from people, or rather damages the environment we live in, from over-farming, clearing out natural habitats of animals to over-farm vegetables, only a fraction of which will ever make it into someone's stomach. Never mind even at the shelf of a grocery store. Now, many of you might not even know, but Canada is actually the absolute worst at this when it comes to food waste, most of which is grains. Interestingly enough, it's one of the most. This is a big issue in Canada, to be wasting food. Food waste is a big problem here, and it's all grains. Most of it is all grains. Now, to my surprise, Bhai Dayal Singh ji has already touched the topic about eating grains. They said, don't eat too much grain, don't overeat grain, don't overeat rotiyan. Now, that's something that all these new desi and non-desi workout guys are coming up with, saying online, oh, don't eat too much rotiyan, it's bad for you. All these high school kids in Brampton and I don't know about Southall, but definitely over here in Canada, they're coming out saying, oh, mummy, main roti nahi khani because it's bad for me. I'm working out now. I'll just have a chicken breast from superstore or wherever people get their chicken breast from anyways. Going back to the argument, do people actually care about how their food affects the ecosystem? Now, how about the fact that the food you actually eat, that's vegetables, are actually slowly poisoning your bodies? People are getting allergies nowadays that people never had before. And I think that there's an indirect relation to the insecticides and pesticides that people use on the actual plants. Now, if they don't use it on the plants, it leaks into the soil. The soil will actually suck all that toxins into the fruit of the actual plant. I never used to be allergic to cherries. I grew up, now I'm allergic to cherries. My throat starts scratching up, my mouth starts scratching up. Am I allergic to organic cherries? No, I'm not. Because they're not filled with pesticides and insecticides. They're grown in soil that are treated ethically when it concerns the ecosystem and the natural food chain. So if you're a vegetarian and you're claiming to be a vegetarian to be morally correct, and you're thinking about all these things and you're making sure that your food comes from ethical food stores, I respect that. We all respect that. Because you're actually coming from a depth of vichar. If you're just coming at us saying, oh, don't eat meat, then just, to be honest, just ignore us. Don't message us on Facebook annoying us and cussing at different posts we make. Just go on your own page. Make your own vegetarian vichar page. How about that? Let's see how many people match up with your vichar instead. Now, there's a lot of vegetarian things that go out to eat. Now, first of all, khulla langar is not even allowed, whether it's meat or vegetarian. So, I mean, I've seen this one place in the UK online. A lot of people are going there nowadays. They're just serving vegetarian junk food with mock meats and whatnot. I mean, if you hate meat so much, why are you eating stuff that's mocked to taste like meat, made in labs? Is that healthy for you? Is that really doing your body good? Is that doing the environment good? Think about the trends you're setting as a people. To be honest, it's a very diverse time, and I love to be sharing this sort of vichar with people. I like to talk about it instead of just debate and get into fights and arguments. Just keep the vibes positive here. Now, to conclude my vlog, I would like to share and say that if I've offended or made any mistakes in the videos, please feel free to correct me. Please feel free to accept my apologies in advance, because I'm not an expert. I'm still learning myself. And to that note, I would like to say that not all men are meant to be warriors, and I respect those who are vegetarian and maintain their respect for those who are otherwise very greatly. But for those who don't respect Guru Maryada, to those of you that do, don't let them cause you any doubt, because many of my close friends of mine, they've tried to convince me how I was wrong and doing something that was anti-Sikhi. At which point I actually took my concerns to Guru Sahib and asked them to help. The hukamnama that came back is as follows, and that's how I'm going to end this video. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.